Hey guys, I'm Comire, this is Start and Select. We've got the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, and now the PlayStation VR has finally hit the shelves. So, let's take a look at virtual reality video games. "2016 has been quite a year, right? I mean, on the one hand, it's made more celebrities disappear than a Golden Globe ceremony live from the Bermuda Triangle. But on the other hand, we've got not just one, but 3 virtual reality headsets that we can buy right now. I mean, if you'd have told me 10 years ago that one day I'd be able to attach a child's lunchbox to my face and get transported directly into a video game, well, I'd have unplugged my iPod Nano, stopped watching Heroes, closed Gaia Online, and told you to STFU and GTFO. Between all the VR demos and surreal YouTube videos that look filmed through the eyes of a peeping Tom, it's hard to know which of the VR headsets needs what, or even if virtual reality gaming is worth getting into at all. If you're going to invest in a machine that makes you look like Daft Punk started taking open auditions, you'll probably want to know the ins and outs first. On the face of it, VR setup sounds so complicated. It would almost be easier to get a hammer, a couple 2x4, some gaffer tape, and turn your basement into some sort of Star Trek style holodeck. So, for each console, I'm going to tell you how much they are, what you get, what you'll need, and where I think VR games are going. So, hopefully you can make an informed decision and stop the neighbours thinking you're building a sex dungeon in your cellar. So starting with a headset that doesn't require a PC built by NASA to get going. The PlayStation VR will cost £350 or $400, making it the cheapest of the bunch. But there are some parts you may or may not already own which might bump up the price. Like first and foremost, the formerly codenamed Project Morpheus, aka PlayStation VR, is essentially an add-on to the PlayStation 4, meaning you'll need to have one of those in order to play one. It works with all PS4 iterations, including the PS4 Slim and the formerly codenamed Project Neo, aka the PS4 Pro. Oh wait, Project Morpheus, Project Neo, alright, sorry, I just got it. So if you've already got a PS4, be it unprofessional, watching its figure, or performing unnecessary parkour in front of Hugo Weaving, you're more than halfway there. If not, that's an extra 200 to 400 quid. The PSVR also requires a PlayStation camera, which is sold separately for £40 or $60, the same price as a DualShock 4 controller. And speaking of controllers, although the camera can detect the light bar on the back of a DualShock 4, you'll really want to play with a pair of PlayStation Move controllers. I mean, you remember PlayStation Move, the glow-in-the-dark wand released in 2010 that looks like a back massager for the single woman? I mean, most people don't find their true purpose for 20, maybe 30 years, so I guess it's supposed to be happy it only took this controller 6. The headset connects to a processor box which is then wired to a plug socket. The box is also wired to the PS4 via separate USB and HDMI cables. So, like all the VR devices, you're tethered to the console like it's taking you for a walk. Interestingly, at launch, the HDMI port accepts anything that a HDMI cable can plug into. Like say, a Nintendo Wii U, or an Amazon Fire Stick. Heck, I'm pretty sure the CCTV in Forever 21 has a HDMI port somewhere. Used in combination with the PlayStation VR Cinematic Mode, which is like a personal cinema sent directly to your eyeballs. Well, let's just say mums are about to have a harder time convincing their kids not to sit too close to the TV. So, if you already have a PS4, or was maybe looking to trade it in for money off a Slim or Pro, then the PlayStation VR is a more affordable and simple to set up option. But maybe you have the spare $800 and a computer more decked out than Iron Man. Well, in that case, have I got the VR system for you. The HTC Vive is a collaboration between mobile phone manufacturer HTC and PC gaming's Copernicus Valve. It's £759 or $799, the most expensive headset on the market. But for that extra cash, it's reportedly offering the sharpest, most immersive experience available. So really, you just need to look deep inside and ask yourself, if I got the butler to move the marble statue to the downstairs drawing room, would I upset the feng shui of my mansion? Setting up the Vive involves attaching 2 sensors to a wall or mounting them on a tripod at opposite corners of your proposed play space and plugging them each into an outlet. Then wiring the headset to a processor box and then connecting that processor box to another power outlet as well as to a PC via USB and HDMI. You'll also need to download the installation program from the Vive website, and in case you're not sure if your PC is up to spec, there's a program on Steam to test if it's VR ready. I'll put those sites under the references link in the description below. By the way, you did know that in Start and Select I reference all my sources in the description, right? Just saying. With the Vive, you also get 2 motion controllers, seemingly custom built with a space to hold your boiled eggs too. And you get 3 games: Job Simulator, Fantastic Contraption, and The Lab. It's worth noting this headset requires 3 individual plug sockets, not including your computer or its monitor. Make no mistake, the Vive certainly has the most requirements for a machine that will make you look like you're playing charades and the answer is always Terminator 2. But it's the sleekest performance of the 3 and offers the most freedom of movement as well. But then again, maybe you prefer your VR headset a little bit more, how do I put this, owned by Mark Zuckerberg. The Oculus Rift is the result of a Kickstarter campaign launching way back in 2012. Back when the minds predicted the world was going to end, Ben Affleck was up for a Golden Globe for directing, and we wasn't entirely sure those two things were unrelated. It's safe to assume development started perhaps a year or 2 prior, not only making this the oldest console, but the extremely positive reaction to its development kits effectively invented the VR business as it is today. If it had released 1 or 2 years ago, it would have dominated the whole market like it was John D. Rockefeller in 1875. Priced at £549 or $599, you get a headset which plugs into a PC via HDMI and USB cables without the need of a processor box like the former devices. There's a sensor that sits atop a desk and separately connects to a PC via USB. It also comes with an Oculus remote, an Xbox One controller, and a platforming game called Lucky's Tale. Curiously, its controller, the Oculus Touch, is sold separately for £189 or $199 and available several months after launch. Unlike the HTC Vive, which had its proper controller from day one, and the PlayStation VR, which had its proper controller 6 years before it even came out. What's worth noting here is that the Oculus Rift potentially requires 3 USB ports, one for the headset, one for the sensor, and another if you're using an Xbox One controller. Although, Lord knows how you're supposed to see the buttons with the family safety deposit box attached to your face. Oculus was acquired by Facebook in 2014, so it might be fair to assume that Rift might be the most social of the devices. You can already watch 360-degree Facebook and YouTube videos and download apps for Oculus Home. I mean, it's clear virtual reality has applications outside of gaming. To suggest otherwise is like saying James Corden is only useful for keeping McDonald's in business. Training and education, conceptual art and design, interactive storytelling. I mean, VR is already the biggest thing to happen to porn since incognito mode. But, unlike the Xbox One announcement, I want to talk about the games. We're at the start of potentially world-changing technology, but like any innovation, nothing's really certain. Similar to 3D TVs or smartwatches, unless you're already a fan of the brand, will the mass market have any reason to buy into VR? Should developers making PS4 games treat the PlayStation VR as its own console, or just another controller? If blind people could see us wandering around with big black boxes in front of our eyes, would they think we're taking the piss? These are questions that are yet to be answered. So much work has gone into bringing these machines into reality that if they don't sell, not only will it take a few companies down with it, but we're not going to see VR and video games in the same room for another 20 years. So, to ensure this platform's survival, for the first few months or years, we need games to attract the biggest audience. Let's try not to have another Ouya. I think those games should have either one of 2 qualities. First, there should be a load of games with a low skill barrier. And I mean super low. I mean Dragon Ball Z Connect style move your body to win low. Before we get all hardcore versus casuals in the comments, hear me out. Playing a game distilled down to a simple action like throwing a ball or swinging a bat easily teaches new players how to play your console. Then, affording them easy wins attaches that experience to joy, meaning they'll want to play again and again, rather than realising they look like Robocop with an external hard drive glued to their face. It's how certain mobile games keep millions and millions of players coming back daily, and how Wii Sports made the Nintendo Wii the best-selling console of its generation. But I'll say again, this is only for the initial months. I don't want shallow video games filling up the market as much as the next guy. After the general public are on board and the platform starts paying for itself, then we can have a AAA VR version of the Crystal Maze. But the second thing VR needs is established franchises embracing the platform like any other new generation of video game consoles. Because not having that is exactly how the Wii U became the worst selling console of its generation. Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Street Fighter, Burnout, Grand Theft Auto, people trust these titles, they'd far easier part their money over them because they represent an experience they're probably already gonna like. And not just that, but it'd be their favourite characters, worlds and superpowers given in a brand new way, virtual reality. The idea of somehow being in a virtual reality Pokemon battle is more exciting than 3D printing, Google Glass, or finding a permanent marker while your friend's asleep. And you know what would work better than doing either of those things? Making games with both those things. Familiar titles with easy actions for easy wins and easy thrills would work as an understandable tutorial for this new hardware, while also creating value for core gamers and newer gamers alike. And I guess you can't get better than that. All virtual reality headsets have been through years of development, tens of thousands of man-hours in testing, and more technical expertise than any other gaming console to date. It would be a shame if they just ended up as someone's special wank helmet. Although, I'm telling you now, if my virtual reality boobs ever start buffering, it's going straight in the trash. Jeez, that was a long one, right? I mean, I genuinely find this stuff exciting, so I, at the very least, hope I gave you an idea of the VR situation at the minute. And I know some of y'all have stuff to say about VR, so I want you to sound off in the comments right now. I want to know what headsets you played with, what your favourite games are so far. Is VR porn as bad as they say it is? I mean, I'm joking about that last one. But, once again, I've been Comire, this has been Start and Select. Thank you, and good night. And all things Apple. So what? Who cares? Apple release a new phone every time Simon Cowell shags a makeup artist and gets away with it.